Hi everyone, I'm Kelsey. I'm a certified sexual health educator with Real Talk. And in this video, we're going to explore the question, what's the difference between an STD and an STI? So to start, STD stands for sexually transmitted disease, and STI stands for sexually transmitted infection. They're actually the same thing. In the last few years, in public health circles, nurses and doctors and sexual health educators decided to change the language from sexually transmitted disease to sexually transmitted infection because it didn't sound as stigmatizing, as heavy, and it didn't sound like it had as much negativity attached, because it shouldn't. We think of diseases as something that people have forever, that are incurable, that are a lot harder to manage. And we think of infections as something that a lot of people get, isn't a big deal. You can probably go to the pharmacy and get a pill or a cream or something to manage it, to cure it, to handle it. And that's what we want to change around the language of the infections that folks can get if they have sex. So I'm going to share my screen and we're going to watch a video on the Real Talk website. So this is the Real Talk website. Up here in the browser, you can see real-talk.org. You don't need to pay to access this website. You don't need a subscription. All you need is access to the internet from your home computer. And we're going to go to the Watch tab. Click on that. That's where our entire video library is. We're going to scroll down. Here's all these different categories. We're going to click on Safer Sex. And for this particular question of sexually transmitted infections and sexually transmitted diseases, we're going to click on this video. What is a sexually transmitted infection? And we're going to watch it together.
What is an STI? How do you prevent them?
An STI is a sexually transmitted infection. So it could be things like hepatitis.
Isn't that an STD though? Like, is there a difference?
They changed the name a few years ago. So it used to be sexually transmitted diseases. Now STIs, sexually transmitted infections.
Oh, okay.
Same idea.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Learn something new. Thank you.
Yeah.
I know that there is a number of ways that you can cut down on these barriers like condoms and diapers. But another really key way that you can cut down on the chance of catching an STI is actually talk to your partners like beforehand about like, hey, so have you ever had one? Have you been tested lately?
You can do as much as you can to prevent it, but if for some reason it were to happen, you just have to be honest, especially with your partner or partners. And you have to, I think that's why it's so important to get tested regularly.
So I had an STI. I'll call my partner out. I'll tell my partner first. And then I will definitely go seek help. I will want to wait. So I'll go to one of the sexual health clinics. One thing that I do is that I like to get tested pretty regularly, even if I don't have any symptoms. Because sometimes STIs actually don't really present any symptoms.
Yeah.
So then I know that like going to get tested fairly regularly is really sure that I know what my status is. Talk to someone who is really good with sexual health, who perhaps is an educator, even going to talk to the nurse at community or at BC, Option for Sexual Health BC, I think it's a good place to go.
So in that video, they mentioned a few different resources. I'm going to click on the resources page now. And if you scroll down, sexual health is the second category. This right here is a really great resource. If you have any questions about the different kinds of sexually transmitted infections there are out there, how people catch them, how you can treat them, you know, what the process is like to get tested. The Sex Sense line, as you can see, it's a phone number, so you can call if you're cool with calling. They're open Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. So that phone number is right there, 1-800-739-7367. It's free to call, it's confidential, so they're not going to share with anybody that you called. You're also not going to get in trouble for calling or asking any question that you might have. The phone line is run by nurses and doctors and sexual health educators, so it's kind of impossible to make them uncomfortable about talking about sex because it's their job, and they probably work there because they enjoy helping people get the proper information about sexual health questions. If you're someone who doesn't really like, I'm just going to click on this link here. If you're someone who doesn't really like talking on the phone, you are welcome to use a different way of getting a hold of them, and that's just filling out this form. So you just write down what email address you want them to reply to, and you write down your message. So whatever question you have about sexual health, whether it has to do with STIs or anything else, they'd be happy to answer you. I think they usually take about 2 to 3 business days to reply, and it'll just get sent back to your email address. So those are 2 options. You can call or you can email. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And that's it for this question. Be sure to stay tuned for other questions for the Real Talk at Home series.